Hello artists! Today we're going to be making acorns. Our acorns are going to focus on the elements of art of value, or the lights and darks of a color, and texture, the way something feels. We're going to begin with a few different materials, such as a few tracers, and you're going to be using 2 different colors of brown paper of your choice. We're also going to be working with chalk pastels, texture plates, crayons, and some oil pastels, along with a scissor and glue. To begin, you're going to want to choose your 2 pieces of paper. Remember, typically an acorn's hat or top is a bit darker than the bottom. Once you choose your 2 pieces of paper, you're going to want to trace around the top of the acorn, and then you're going to want to trace around the bottom. Notice how on my template I move the bottom of the acorn all the way up so that the template's touching the top and I don't need to trace over that top line. After I do that, I'm going to pick a few texture plates. Remember, texture is how something feels, and acorns have a texture to them. You're going to choose whichever texture plate you would like, and you're going to place it underneath your first piece of paper. Then you're going to choose a crayon, and you're going to do a texture rubbing. So you're going to rub your crayon all over the top of that paper with the texture plate underneath. You're going to have to pick up your paper and move that texture plate around from time to time because it's not going to be big enough to fit on your whole piece of paper at once. Take your time, move your texture plate around, and use your crayon to cover the entire inside of that top of your acorn. The next thing you're going to do is pick a different texture plate because the bottom of an acorn has a different feel than the top. Notice how I chose a lighter color because my paper is a lighter color or a lighter value of brown. So now I'm working with lights and darks. My crayon is also a lighter crayon. You're going to notice as I zoom in, you're going to be able to pick up the different textures of the plate that you choose. The next thing you're going to do is carefully go around and cut along the traced line that you made to cut out the top hat of your acorn as well as the base of your acorn. Now that you have your 2 pieces, we are going to start to make our acorn look like it has form by shading. Form is when something looks 3-dimensional or rounded. So notice how I took 1 pastel, I shaded on the side, and I'm going to use 1 finger to blend that in. When I'm blending, I'm going in little circles and trying to almost erase it so it looks like there's no line. Now on the other side, I'm going to want to take a darker value chalk of brown because the light is not going to be hitting this side of my acorn. I'm going to then take my 1 finger and blend this in from the side into the center. My goal is to try to make this look 3-dimensional and rounded, so I can continue going and adding a little bit more chalk if I want the left side to be darker or to look like there's less light on it. I'm going to also do the same thing to the top or the hat of my acorn. I'm going to need to choose a few different lighter values or darker values depending upon the color construction paper that I took. Next thing I'm going to do is use an oil pastel to make the pattern in the top of my acorn. Notice how I'm using arced lines in one direction and then I'm overlapping with arced lines in another direction. Now I'm making texture, even more of it, on the top of that by making dots with my oil pastel. Once you're done with that, you're going to get to make an expression on your acorn's face, any expression that you wish. I'm using oil pastel here, and notice I made eyes, a nose, a mouth, and a little tongue, and then I'm using some chalk to give it some rosy cheeks. The last step is to go put this together by putting a small line of glue on the top of the acorn to glue it to the acorn's bottom. If you need to hold it and move it around to get it into the right place, you can do that, but you're going to want to make sure you don't rub your hands all over and smear your oil pastel. Great job!